Welcome to the deep dive. We've got quite a stack of sources here today. Recent Nigerian newspaper headlines, some global snippets, interesting facts too. And our mission really is just to dive into this material, pull out the most important bits and connections, and give you a kind of rapid fire shortcut to being well informed based just on what these specific reports are telling us.
Exactly. Think of it like guides through this pile of information.
Right.
We're here to help you spot the patterns, maybe understand the context a bit better, and pull out those key takeaways, but only from the materials provided. That's key.
Absolutely. And looking through this stack, it really is quite a mix. I mean, we're seeing headlines on national security, big issues there, then shifts in economic indicators, court cases popping up, what's happening in local governance, and even a cool science fact about rain, which I found interesting, and a historical note about a famous statue. It's all in here.
Quite the range.
It is. So, okay, let's get started. Let's see what this collection actually tells us when we put it together.
Okay, let's explore what really stands out.
Right, so kicking things off, there's a major theme. You can't miss it. Security. It's running through several headlines.
Definitely.
Right near the top, we see reports of, bloodshed, like in Benue State. President Tinubu reportedly rerouted his trip from Kaduna to visit there instead.
That's significant. And there's also that headline about Enugu State, right?
Yeah.
7 people killed, 2 missing after an alleged fresh herdsman attack.
Yeah, exactly. These incidents are clearly, very prominent in these reports we have.
And what's notable, I think, is seeing the high-level response that's also captured in other headlines right here in the same stack.
Like what?
Well, the Chief of Defense Staff and the Inspector General of Police, the IGP, they're reportedly launching a cross-border manhunt for those behind the Benue attacks.
Okay.
And the IGP also apparently ordered the deployment of additional manpower there, so it shows that official action, or at least the report of it, follows pretty quickly.
And, this connects directly to that bigger debate, the one about Nigeria's whole security structure.
State policing.
Exactly. President Tinubu is quoted right here declaring state policing a necessity and demanding constitutional reforms to make it happen. That's a pretty big policy stance mentioned here.
It is. But interestingly, other headlines in the same stack show there isn't full agreement.
Oh.
Yeah, the IGP and the Speaker's chairman reportedly differ on that state police proposal. And another report quotes someone suggesting an alternative way of funding the police needs to be found. So, you see, while there's this push for reform reported, the sources also highlight debate, potential roadblocks.
So it's not just the attacks themselves, which are awful, but also the challenges and, disagreements around the proposed solutions. That's what's coming through these specific reports.
Precisely.
And looking at other security challenges covered. The Lagos State House of Assembly is summoning the police commissioner over coal clashes.
Right.
And the headline from Sokoto State notes authorities are sort of opening doors to dialogue with repentant bandits. So it shows the different kinds of security problems being reported across states.
Yes. And sadly, some reports also touch on violence at a really personal level, like a police inspector reportedly shot dead by his 10-year-old son in Anambra.
Wow.
Or employees killing a farmer over money in Edo State. I mean, this collection really paints a stark picture of the range of security issues, from, national conflict right down to individual acts of violence.
It really does. Okay, moving on from security, though obviously connected.
Yeah.
The economy is another major focus in these headlines.
Yeah.
And there's actually some positive news reported here. The National Bureau of Statistics, the NBS, reported inflation dropped to 22.97% in May.
Okay, a slight drop.
A slight drop, yeah. And the Naira reportedly appreciated too.
Yeah.
To end 1,585 against the dollar in the parallel market. Those are, key indicators showing some positive movement at least.
True. But then if we look at other economic headlines right here, challenges clearly persist.
That's just...
Well, reports of fear among marketers and pushback from Petroin, that's the Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association, against Dangote's fuel distribution plan.
Ah, right.
There's talk of business shutdown, so it suggests potential friction points, in the market, despite those slightly better inflation and exchange rate numbers.
Makes sense. We also see policymakers engaging with all this. The Minister of Finance, Eden, and the CBN Governor, Cardoso, they reportedly met to deepen fiscal monetary policy coordination as inflation slows.
Which is what you'd hope to see, right? Trying to align strategies based on those economic signals.
Yeah. And financial regulators seem active too. The SEC, this Securities and Exchange Commission is eyeing cross-border trade with a stablecoin framework.
Stablecoins, so rules for digital currencies pegged to stable assets.
Exactly. And the FRS, the tax service, is extending tax office operations to weekends in June. So activity on the regulatory front.
Yeah, these snippets really highlight regulatory responses, efforts to adapt the financial landscape, and we also see specific funding announcements mentioned. NADI, the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, reported that TET Fund, that's the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, received over $1 trillion from education tax in 5 years.
Wow, that's a big number.
It is. And PTAD, the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, paid NGN $8.6 billion in pension arrears. These figures give, concrete examples of financial flows and commitments being reported.
Okay. Right. Shifting gears again, there's a lot happening on the political, governance, and legal fronts, judging by this stack.
Seems like it.
Loads of court cases making headlines. Let's see. The alleged murder plot arraignment of Senator Natasha apparently stalled. A court rejected the federal government's request to arrest Senator Akpoti Uduaghan. Former CBN Governor Emma Fiel got N2BN bail in an estate suit, some kind of property case.
Right.
And a court halted Ecobank's N6.3BN shares suit.
Yeah.
Just a lot of legal action.
It certainly shows a high level of legal activity in these reports, doesn't it? Involving various figures, different types of cases, criminal allegations, civil disputes.
And some of these legal challenges seem to be impacting big projects, like a court being asked to stop the demolition of a state for that controversial Lagos-Calabar coastal road project.
Oh, yes, that road again.
And LASG, the Lagos state government, reportedly suspending planning approvals along that same road.
So that coastal road is definitely generating legal and administrative headlines based on this.
No kidding. And the EFCC, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, is active too. They reportedly arraigned a Ponzi scheme director for alleged N13.8 billion fraud.
13 billion, wow.
Yeah. And they're also noting that politicians are allegedly laundering billions through cybercriminals, often called Yahoo Boys. So reports highlighting ongoing efforts against financial crime.
Right. And then on the governance side, we see various state-level actions being reported. Lagos Assembly summoning Uber and Bolt over labor rights. That's interesting legislative attention on the gig economy.
It is. Governor Mutfwang in Plateau State is reportedly resetting the health sector with N2BN and equipment.
Could see investment there.
Governor Aya Datua approved a SOPIDEX N33BN budget in Ondo. That's the Oil Producing Areas Development Commission. So specific regional development funding. And Zamfara's governor unveiled a refurbished Women Affairs Secretariat. Just lots of different state initiatives.
And some are really specific local actions, too. Niger State beginning repairs on a storm-damaged road and, interestingly, blaming the contractor.
Okay.
Jigawa State renovating flood-damaged schools, reallocating misused farmlands, demarcating land for grazing routes. Seems like a real focus on agriculture and disaster recovery there.
Yeah. And Bauchi State banning farming activities along road setbacks. These headlines give such a granular view, don't they, of the diverse governance issues states are reportedly tackling.
It really does. It illustrates the range of challenges and specific initiatives happening at the state level based purely on these reports. Infrastructure, land use, social welfare, education, it's all in there.
And, of course, there are political dynamics mixed in. Damagum reportedly denying plans to defect to the ruling APC party.
Always political movement or rumors of it.
Right. And the APC itself is talking tough as apparently pressure mounts over President Tinubu's potential running mate for 2027 already. So political tensions, strategy, evident in these snippets.
And complementing that national political news, we see reports on specific local political events like Lagos APC unveiling its LG candidates under tight security, shows the political process playing out at different levels.
Okay, let's look beyond Nigeria for a second. There's some global snippets in the pile.
Yeah, a few international bits.
Reports on the Israel-Iran situation, mentioning 330,000 fleeing Tehran, and oil prices dropping 4%. Just snapshots, really.
And news that Harvard University secured an extension of a court order halting former President Trump's foreign student ban. Legal battles continuing there.
Right. And the Ugandan president reportedly signing a law allowing civilians to be tried in military courts. These just give brief glimpses into international events, legal shifts elsewhere.
And let's not miss the broader African context that was mentioned. Afreximbank stating Africa's $400 billion reserves held abroad hinder development. That's a pretty significant point about financial sovereignty.
It really is. And Nigeria reportedly inviting Burkina Faso and Niger to an economic summit despite their exit from ECOWAS, the West African bloc. That shows some complex regional politics at play.
Definitely navigating tricky waters there.
It's fascinating how these global and regional points just add another layer to the whole picture,
Absolutely. Context is everything.
Now, just for a bit of flavor, there were a few surprising facts and other random notes in the stack.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know the fresh, earthy smell after rain, it's called petrichor?
Petrichor, right.
It's largely due to a compound called geosmin, produced by soil bacteria. And apparently our noses are incredibly sensitive to it. Just a fun fact tucked in there.
That is fascinating, geosmin. And there was a historical note, too, wasn't there, about the Statue of Liberty?
Yes. On this day, in 1885, the Statue of Liberty arrived in New York Harbor, reportedly welcomed by hundreds of thousands. Just a little reminder of history popping up in the daily news mix.
Nice little aside. History intersecting with the present.
We also had quick notes on, education issues, Unical clinical lecturers going on strike, Unilag raising an alarm about impersonation, which seems like a persistent problem.
Yeah.
And even later notes like 48 students reaching the Cowbell PD quarterfinals, or an Oyo cyclist targeting a Guinness World Record. These random details just show the sheer breadth of information captured in this kind of collection.
It truly is a snapshot, isn't it? Covering such a wide range of topics and facets of life, all drawn directly from this material we looked at.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, really trying to pull out the key pieces from the stack of sources you gave us.
We have.
We explored those security challenges reported in places like Benue and Nugu, the economic signals, dropping inflation, Naira appreciation, but also the market frictions.
Right. The legal and political stuff, too. Court cases, the state policing debate, calls for reform.
And those specific actions reported at a local government level across different states, plus the global notes and even those interesting facts.
And seeing these varied headlines together, maybe from just a single day's news cycle, it really does offer a unique snapshot, doesn't it, of the complex realities, the ongoing issues, all sourced directly from the material provided. It highlights how interconnected it all is.
Yeah. Our goal really was just to quickly give you those key takeaways, those surprising details that jumped out when we sifted through this collection. Hopefully you feel a little more informed about the picture these specific reports paint.
And maybe, as a final thought for you to consider, something drawn directly from the material we've just gone through.
Yeah.
Given that range of security challenges mentioned, you had the alleged attacks by groups, the cult clashes, the banditry, reported right alongside the simultaneous debate over state policing and calls for constitutional reforms. What does this particular set of headlines suggest about the potential path forward for security in Nigeria, based only on these sources we looked at today?
That is definitely a big question to sit with, based just on this material. Okay, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into your sources.